Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast that gladly witnessed the formation of Sierra, Hotel, Intensity, Integrity, Intelligence, and Delta. It's Lost the Midcard. Welcome to the tables, ladders, and chairs, no stairs, post-show, and
groceries.
Tables, ladders, chairs, and produce. A lot better than the stairs. I mean, remember that classic?
Tables, ladders, chairs, and dumpsters.
Remember that classic stairs match? What was that? Big Show and Eric Rowan? And they
so bad.
And they changed the name, and yeah, that was not good at all. Thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. All you got to do is hit that search for Lost the Midcard, hit that subscribe button. And that way you'll know every time a new episode comes your way, typically every Thursday, most Mondays after a WWE pay-per-view. And also, you can subscribe to us on the YouTube. Links to all that are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Go to the notes section there for our links. Our links are also on our pinned tweet on the Twitter, as well as us sharing a lot of the interesting tweets that are from the pro wrestling world. Go to @LITMC Podcast for that. I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter @JBHuskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter @RawFShowtime. It is Mr. Produce himself, Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing surprisingly well tonight, JB.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun night, and I thought the undercard delivered, and yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight.
I would say it was probably the most entertaining WWE pay-per-view in recent memory.
And also joining us for the first time in a while, he is the proprietor of SpiderDuck.net and also the host of a show on SpiderDuck.net, Project Comics, on the same little network there as Lost in the Midcard. He is the former commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling. He is the light that leads the darkness. We'll let him explain that to you. On the Twitter @Trevor Oz, that's Trevor OSZ. Mr. Trevor Oz, welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I've been usurped, as you can see, as the commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling.
Breaking news.
It is a travesty. And
is it an injustice?
It's an injustice. It is a complete injustice.
Have you tried calling the Shield?
I have. They haven't answered my phone calls.
Damn.
You know, I tried to go through. I've met, some of Roman's cousins before. I've met Lance Anoa'i, son of Samu, but they're just not relaying the message. So
maybe you need a Harvard lawyer on your side. I mean,
I think it might just be a no-Winsky situation.
Yeah. So, the light that leads the darkness. Explain that to us, Trevor.
So right now I'm managing the Reaper, Matt Connard, who, he's a dark guy. So I am the light that leads him to the ring.
Is he a former BDW champion?
He is indeed. And a soon-to-be future BDW champion.
So are you a heel or a babyface?
I'm a heel, sir.
When you got overthrown, I was assuming heel, but you can never assume in this business.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to make a switch. You realize that just giving people opportunities, they fail you, and sometimes you just need to take things into your own hands and work with the best people possible.
So how did you get overthrown as the commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling?
Well, Black Diamond Wrestling ownership didn't take kindly to the fact that I chose to help Matt Connard in a couple matches where I felt that he deserved to be the champion over other people. So they pulled the power out from under me.
Oh,
How
man.
dare you, sir?
Man. Trevor has gone heel on us.
And you know, and ever since, you know, I've been bullied by various wrestlers. Keith Hott in particular. Keith Hott is, you know, he's the current Black Diamond Wrestling champion, future former Black Diamond Wrestling champion, and you know the guy, you know, I was managing another one of my guys, Remy LeVay, just last week, and I was trying to. I took the belt, you know, and I felt bad about it, so I was trying to give it back to Keith Hott, and I slipped. I dropped the belt in the ring. Keith Hott headbutted me off the apron. It was a thing, but I was just trying to apologize to the man.
At first, I thought you were going to say, you know, his head accidentally met the belt when I was trying to hand it to him.
No, I mean, I slipped, or you know, he maneuvered a little bit, and
what a maneuver!
But I mean, he headbutted me. That's not cool. I went flying off the apron. It was an ordeal. So
well, at least there wasn't a table for you to land on out there.
Definitely was not one of those.
You could have landed on one like Dean Ambrose and have it not break.
Yeah, well, Dino got a big old cut down his arm tonight.
Dean and Tables didn't work well together tonight.
They should not go forward as a tag team.
No. I thought, you know, when we did the preview show on for Thursday's show, and Matt and I were running down the card, and we're just like, wow, this is a 2-match card, Asuka and Shield, you know, and we weren't too excited about it, but then the bombshell dropped on Friday afternoon. We knew there were rumblings that the card may be subject to change because we knew Bray and Bo and JoJo were all sick, and so they were being kept at home. So we knew that this could happen. But Matt, when that bombshell dropped on Friday afternoon that Kurt Angle would return to the ring for the first time in the WWE in over 11 years, what was your immediate words that came out of your mouth when you saw that headline on Friday afternoon?
Oh man, I don't know. I put a tweet out the second I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure my immediate thoughts are right there, but I'm sure there were a bunch of expletives and basically what the fuck is going on, or something along those lines. I don't remember. I remember being shocked.
I thought it was kayfabe news putting this out at first. I was like, is this did the WWE get hacked? Did I get sent to did I click some weird link that shows Kurt Angle's returning to the ring? I didn't believe it at first. I thought it was just some kind of weird work or something.
But they pushed it out on everything. They pushed it out on their app, on Twitter, everything linking directly to WWE.com. They wanted you to know that like this shit was 100% official. So
yeah, so it's kind of odd, you know. Wasn't the way we expected Kurt Angle to return to the ring, but
sure it wasn't the way he expected to return to the ring.
Or his wife. But Trevor, what were your thoughts on Friday afternoon when that dropped that Kurt Angle would be joining Ambrose and Rollins?
I mean, it certainly made the pay-per-view more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much what that's my initial thought. But other than that, I mean, it seemed like an odd place to just throw him in, especially when there's not going to be a huge build-up to it. So.
And somebody just hit the gong, I think. I don't know what that was. Yeah, my thought was, in Vince's mind, well, obviously, the Shield was formed for this pay-per-view because there's no John Cena and no Brock Lesnar. Oh, now the Shield can't reform. You know, what's the most extreme thing I can do? I'm going to put Angle in a match for the first time in 11 years, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they went to the nuclear option.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing because, there was always the words that Vince isn't sure of allowing Angle back into the ring,
Mm-hmm.
He's not sure he could trust him in the ring, but obviously those fences have been mended. Obviously, Angle has stayed clean and sober for well over 4 years now, so I think that trust was back in there, and I think this is a good thing that this happened, because I think it does open the door for more Angle matches than may have been expected at first, and that's not a bad thing at all. So I think this could have this this quick thinking and quick working. I think it opened up the door for more matches. Matt, do you think that's true?
I don't know, because I don't really know how many matches they were planning on having him do.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't expect to see him back in the ring until WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was the original plan. But, plans change. And look, let's call a spade here. If WWE didn't trust Kurt Angle to get into the ring and compete, they wouldn't have put him in a TLC match tonight.
No.
It just wouldn't have happened. They would have found another option. And done something else.
And those words and those rumors and such were, those were, a year ago, 2 years ago. They weren't really recent things that were out there of putting the debate of putting Angle in the ring or not. Those are kind of older rumors, but obviously, put to bed by now. But yeah, it was amazing. And then props to AJ Styles for flying 18 hours. They were in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and then they were going to head to Santiago, Chile, and for the SmackDown tour. And so then AJ Styles gets the call because Bray can't make it, and we get ourselves a first-time ever match between two former leaders of the Bullet Club, and that was like the internet dream match, to see that happen, and we'll get into that in a little while. But overall, Trevor, what did you think about the pay-per-view?
I thought overall it was a really good show. I enjoyed it, at least.
Yeah, I thought my thoughts were, we weren't too hyped about it going into the preview show, but the undercard I thought delivered, and we got some craziness in the end, and then a lot of produce as well.
Personally, I felt every advertised match either delivered to expectations or over-delivered.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to complain about the show. I really felt top to bottom this is one of the best WWE pay-per-views that the company's put out in a while. And with them having to announce their network subscriber numbers next week on their stockholder conference call, this probably couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah. Kickoff show started off Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, this mini little feud that has been going on Monday Night Raw. They gave the women a lot of time here, 11 minutes. Booker T, being his vintage crappy self, comparing Alicia Fox to the missing link. Sadly, this was not the first time we said, what the fuck to Booker T, was it, Matt?
Dude, his commentary gets on my last fucking nerve.
Oh, my lord.
To the people that find his commentary entertaining, I don't know what the fuck they're smoking. But honestly, I would take Otunga in the booth over him any fucking day.
Yeah.
Because Booker goes off on these ridiculous fucking tangents that make no fucking sense. And sure, it's funny sometimes when Corey and Cole call him on it. But more often than not, it just comes across as just fucking annoying. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh my god, shut up.
And then we had a Cameron moment when Alicia Fox did a backbreaker on the outside and then went for the pin. Not as bad as Cameron pinning someone that was on their stomach, but still that was kind of funny. Trevor, what did you think of the women here in the kickoff show? I mean, to me, it was a feud that really has nothing to it.
I mean, I'm guessing they probably went back to this because, Nia Jax needed the time off that she's getting.
Yeah.
That's my assumption with this. I mean, because they had this feud before, 6 months ago or so, and it didn't really set the world on fire. So, I mean, they came back to it. Look, when it comes down to it, you have someone like Alicia Fox who hasn't necessarily stepped up as other people from her era have, as far as in-ring competition. Which I'm not trying to say anything against her, because I think she tries, but you can tell she's definitely a step behind a lot of the other females, and she hasn't pushed herself forward like Nikki Bella or Mickie James has.
Yeah, and for somebody that's been there for over 10 years, you think, you would
think she would be better than what she is. I mean, like I said, she tries, and I hand it to her. I mean, at least, we didn't see the scissors kick, because, her scissors kick is terrible.
Oh my goodness!
Or like a scissors push, but
it's kind of like John Cena's STF cuddle.
Yeah, it's just, but they just haven't made Alicia Fox interesting for a little while, until the last time she was interesting was when she first started doing the crazy stuff, and then it's okay, cool, I'm enjoying this, but they've taken it to the point where it doesn't make a difference whether she's crazy or not. They're not going to do anything with her. So everybody saw the writing on the wall on this one.
Yeah, I think,
knew what was going to,
I think when they paired her with the Bellas, it was a nice push to allow her to be out there more. I think it's the fact that she's just not out there at all, hardly, and so I don't know if it's lack of matches to get that chemistry in, or not being written into the show much.
I mean, it could be partially that. I mean, and you don't know what kind of matches she's getting on house shows either. Is she working every house show? Does she actually wrestle on a lot of those to get more reps in? Has she been working a ton of house shows in the past 10 years? Maybe not. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say what actual real experience she has. Yeah.
Matt, what were your thoughts on the kickoff show match between Foxy and Banks?
I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought they got enough time. I thought it was one of Fox's better outings in the ring in recent memory.
I would agree with that.
And yeah, Sasha won as expected. But I thought it was, for a Fox match, I thought it was solid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really find anything wrong with it. I thought it was a good start to the overall flow of what was going to be this pay-per-view tonight.
Yeah, it was something we weren't expecting to get much out of, and it turned out to be a pretty decent 11-minute match. Sasha Banks slapping on the Banks statement after Alicia missed the scissors push to get the win. The opening video for the main show, all about Angle's return. Pretty cool stuff there. And right off the bat, we're going to get the debut of Asuka, and Emma gets the introduction first. They show us what she did to get to this match, winning that fatal 5-way. And then, of course, Asuka comes out to a thunderous ovation in Minneapolis. Cool stuff there from Asuka. I know Matt said on Twitter, thought might be a 3-minute killing, but Emma looked pretty competitive in this, and I think that was not a bad thing. I think that was a good thing, because in the end, Matt, I think it made Emma look a lot better going forward, having a pretty good match with Asuka. And you've said it yourself before on the show. These girls have had great matches before in NXT. But I thought Emma in defeat in an 11-minute match was good for her going forward. Do you feel the same way, Matt?
Here's the whole thing. It's really going to come down to how they use Emma going forward, if this was a good thing or a bad thing. If Emma goes back to being squashed on Raw in under 2 minutes by Nia Jax, this was a terrible way to debut Asuka in a 10-minute competitive match, because she need to come out and kill Emma. If they're going to treat Emma seriously going forward, and we'll know between now and Survivor Series if they're going to, then that's one thing. But if Emma goes back to being the job girl joke, this was not a smart debut. This was like when they debuted Nakamura against Ziggler.
I was just going to ask you that. It
reminded me a lot of Nakamura and Ziggler.
Because that was
I felt Ziggler got way too much in on Nakamura, and I felt the same tonight. Look, don't get me wrong, the match was good, but debuting Asuka, I think, would have had a bigger impact if she would have just absolutely destroyed Emma in like 3 minutes or less. But that's not what they chose to do, and they did what they did. Like I said, the match was good. The right person won, despite what Taz wants you to believe. But I thought it did no favors for Asuka having problems with Emma, who really can't beat anybody on Raw right now. Like, as I said, if this turns into a feud for Emma, great. But if not, I feel they made a mistake with the booking of this match, and they kind of booked her debut just like they booked Nakamura's, and that's not a good idea.
Yeah, and also the debut of Rude was about the same too, wasn't it?
I think Rude's debut was but at least Rude's debut wasn't a pay-per-view though.
Yeah.
Rude's debut was like just a regular match on SmackDown Live. So I mean, that's a lot more cushion of a blow than the main stage of a pay-per-view. You're saving someone's debut for a pay-per-view. You're really setting the expectations high.
Trevor, did you think Asuka should have kicked Emma's head into Section 114 tonight, or did you like how this went to where it elevated both women?
I like how it went where it elevated both women. I mean, this was Emma's best match on the main roster, let's be honest.
Yeah.
She's had really good matches in NXT, but when it comes to the main roster, they haven't really given Emma a chance.
Hashtag.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Hashtag give Emma a chance. Because they really should. I mean, Emma's very talented. And I think what it comes down to is they weren't happy with the whole Emmalina thing, and so she got kind of, tossed aside for a little bit. But it seems like recently they've been slowly building her more up as a character, even though she's taken a lot of losses. As a character, she's becoming more and more interesting on the show. So at the very least, you're getting that. But like I agree with what Matt's saying in a sense, but I hope. My hope is that this is a building block for both Asuka and Emma on Raw. So that's something that we'll find out later. So hindsight's 20/20 in that aspect.
Exactly. It's a complete wait and see approach.
Yeah.
Like a month from now, when we're discussing Survivor Series or whatever, we're going to have a lot better idea if this match, the way it was creatively booked, was a good idea or a bad idea. If they do Raw versus SmackDown Women like they suggested on Raw Talk that they're going to do...
I was going to say, it sounds like it, yeah.
And Emma goes in and gets hit with natural selection in 30 seconds. It takes the first elimination for Team Raw.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't look really good for what Asuka took to do on the pay-per-view tonight. No. So, I mean, it really... You have to protect Emma going forward now, based on how you used her tonight. If they do, then it's fine. But if they don't, then they made a big mistake.
Would you book Emma in a major spot at Survivor Series then, kind of like what they did with Dolph Ziggler a couple of years ago?
No, because I think Survivor Series is going to come down to Asuka and Charlotte.
That's what I think, too. Yeah, I mean, Asuka's obviously the person that they're going to be behind, at least for the immediate future. So it doesn't make sense to put Emma in the forefront, but they could give Emma a chance in that match to show what to show what she has.
Yeah, Emma does not need
get an elimination or two, and and then get eliminated. So you can look strong.
Have her eliminate someone like Carmella or Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Emma can still come out of Survivor Series looking great based on how they use her in the match. And if they use Emma in the Survivor Series match like they used her tonight, she'll look great.
Yeah.
It comes down to creative being consistent. And that's really what Emma needs right now is some creative consistency.
Yeah, and I mean
going forward after tonight's show.
That's obviously the problem overall with the product right now. It's just the creative consistency. Because I mean, you watch the pay-per-views if you look at the last 6 months of pay-per-views, most of them have been pretty good. For the most part, I mean, you're going to have a few here or there that aren't so great because they do so many. But for the most part, the last couple have been pretty good. But the things leading into those are kind of I don't really care about this. But then you get to the match and the match is good, so it's like almost putting a Band-Aid on the problem. But but the inconsistency is something that I don't feel like I need to watch Raw and SmackDown live because I can watch it on a DVR and I can fast forward through the commercials and then I can also fast forward through the stuff that I know isn't going anywhere or I don't care about.
After the first match, backstage promo with The Miz in the bar complaining about Angle taking Roman Reigns' spot in the main event. Braun Strowman joined the group. Nice little pop there. I think he's getting turned babyface anyways, so
I kind of feel like that happened tonight.
Yeah, he'll get more pops than Kane. And Kane's been getting some pops too. I think everybody's liking the old Big Red Mare. But they talk about destroying Angle and taking out the GM and making Raw their own so they could run the show. Kane says he's turning TLC into hell on earth and doesn't care what his teammates do with the ashes. I kind of like that line. But also kind of plays into the fact that the rumors that Kane is not sticking around too much longer after TLC. Elias is on stage, and he quotes a Prince line, because obviously we're in Minnesota, and starts to try to sing, but then some broccoli comes flying his way. I thought someone in the crowd threw that at first. I was like, what is going on? And then there's Jason Jordan with a cart full of produce, just throwing food at Elias. Next up, our first of two cruiserweight matches on the main card, which is something we don't get to say much on a WWE pay-per-view. But the Brian Kendrick, Jack Gallagher took on Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann. I thought this was a pretty entertaining match with these guys. Not really a surprise there, but I thought it was a highly entertaining. I thought the bad guys were going to get the win here. But, Matt, tell me what you said on Twitter in regards to the winner and then the other cruiserweight match that's yet to happen.
I felt the tag team match was a blatant foreshadowing what was going to happen with the title match. Mm-hmm. I felt if the heel team won, they were setting up future challengers for Kalisto. And if the face teams win, they were going to be setting up. They were going to be setting up the challengers for Enzo going forward. So as soon as Alexander and Swann won the match, I knew the title was going back to Enzo tonight for 100%.
I wonder if Gallagher likes wrestling in that gear. I mean,
probably not.
Yeah. I mean, A, that's got to be hot as shit wearing a vest with your shirt. B, you're wrestling in fucking loafers. But anyways. Kendrick put on the old captain's hook on Cedric Alexander. Rich Swann broke it up with a sweet Phoenix Splash. Gallagher took out Swann. But then Alexander came in from behind and hit the lumbar check on Kendrick, who didn't sell it as well as Gallagher. I love the flop Gallagher did on Raw when he took that lumbar check. The good guys win in 8 minutes. Trevor, what were your thoughts on the cruiserweight tag match here?
I mean, it's your every week cruiserweight match. I mean, the cruiserweight matches are never bad for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always guarantee that the matches are going to be good. Whether the storylines within those matches are good. That's a different thing. Like I'm not saying that they're bad right now. I'm just saying that I don't watch 205 Live, so I have no idea what's going on.
Well, I've kind of liked the Kendrick and Gallagher feud with Alexander. Rich Swann got put in there just to kind of even up the odds, but I think Alexander's feud with those guys has been a good one, comparatively speaking, because the building of stuff on 205 Live sometimes is not always the greatest, but it's been getting better though. For me, like, I'm going to care more about a match based on its build. Yeah,
agreed.
So for me, unfortunately, like, it's not that I don't like watching the cruiserweights in action. It's just there's too much wrestling on every week. So 205 Live is kind of like one that I don't watch because I watch Raw and SmackDown even if I don't watch all of it technically because I fast forward through some of it. But yeah, it's just one show that I don't watch, so if I'm not invested in those guys as characters, I'm not really going to be as invested in the match. Nothing against those guys, because they always put on a really good match. So if there's anything with the cruiserweights, consistently, the matches are always very good.
Alexa with a backstage interview before her women's title match, and she didn't even know what a biscuit butt meant, but she thinks her butt's cute, and a lot of men around the world agreed. Speaking of build-ups, I thought the build-up for this one has been good. Alexa Bliss, Mickie James. This was the only one where I had inklings that there could be some unexpected results happening here, but those did not happen, obviously. But I thought Mickie and Alexa did a great job out there. They gave him 12 minutes, and I thought, I was really glad they gave Mickie James this kind of a chance on a pay-per-view. Finally, she's been on the roster for I think she came at the beginning of the year, if I remember right. And it's taken this long to have something meaningful for her, which has been kind of ridiculous, but. I thought both women did really good on this match here. Matt, what were your thoughts on the Raw Women's Championship?
It was exactly what I expected it to be. Two of these girls, Mickie and Bliss, work really well together. I thought they had a really great match, but I felt the outcome was never in doubt. And with Asuka being on Raw right now, the right one won.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had this weird feeling they were going to put it on Mickie just for the nostalgia and the fact that they've been mentioning it so many times. And then they would have another Mickie and Asuka match, which they had a great one at TakeOver when Mickie returned to the company. It was the one where I thought maybe something unexpected would happen with the result, but alas, it did not. And for some reason during the match, the crowd chanted, "We want tables." I don't know.
Oh, there's a TLC pay-per-view, and they only had one TLC match.
Yeah, usually it's littered with...
It's normal, like, hey, well, there's a ladder match here, there's a tables match
thank God they didn't do that.
Chairs match here, and they didn't do that tonight. So, I think some people expected that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a bad thing that they did it. I'm just saying I think...
Honestly,
some people expect those matches to be gimmicked up.
Yeah,
sometimes an entire gimmick pay-per-view is a mess, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No argument.
Yeah.
And based on the matches, I mean, really the only matches that I would say feud-wise that should get a gimmick based on would be the main event, which had the gimmick, or would be Bray and Finn, which didn't end up happening anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And then, of course, you had Hell in a Cell, where the title match wasn't inside Hell in a Cell.
Which, I mean, I think that was probably for the better, based on the tag title match that was at Hell in a Cell.
Oh, God, that was so good.
Oh, it was amazing.
After the match, Charlie Caruso does an interview with Mickie, and she's a little emotional after the match, said, I hope she proved that she belonged in this match and hopes it's not the last time she gets a title shot. Gives the WWE Universe a big thank you. So, good stuff there from Mickie James. Kurt Angle is in the locker room. Dean and Seth show up, and Angle kind of apologetically says, "I couldn't let you guys go 2-on-5 even though you wanted to." Seth is saying that they're not here to talk strategy, and you know why you did what you had to do, so we're here to give you this. And Seth proceeds to give Kurt Angle his own Shield vest. Pretty cool moment there, Matt.
I thought it was funny. There was a meme going around all day.
Yeah.
That Kurt was going to come out in the Shield gear for this match, and everybody thought it was a joke. Well, it happened.
Memes are real.
I would kind of thought that was pretty funny.
Do you think this creates friction with the tag team champions and Roman when he comes back, and Roman's like, you can't just give one of those away to anybody, you know? Do you think that?
No.
Because
they're trying to make the fans like Roman.
Yep.
They still trying to do that?
Right now, the last thing they do right now is make Roman look like a dick for what they did. That's not going to happen. And it's like I said on Lost in the Midcard several days ago, they ain't breaking up the Shield until at least after WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, I know.
Because they're keeping those guys together. So when Reigns beats Lesnar in New Orleans,
he gets a pop.
That he's gonna get a pop, and he's gonna have the backing of the Shield, and everybody's gonna love it because it's Shield. And that's why they did it as early as they did. So they had this build up. They built up all this goodwill for Reigns over the next 6 months to lead to that. So the last thing they need to do right now is Roman Reigns to be a dick to his buddies Rollins and Ambrose after that. If anything, Reigns should come back and say, "Hey, Kurt, thanks for stepping in and covering my ass."
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. I
was out with the mumps and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. Yeah, and hell, I'm gonna pop anyways because the title will be off a part-timer. So.
Yeah, the sooner the title's off Lesnar, the better.
It should be off of him right now, but hey.
I completely agree, but that's another topic we could spend an hour on.
Yeah.
So, trust me, you didn't hear the show after the Lesnar Strowman match, or you would know exactly how we feel about that.
Yeah.
Dean says we're going out on our Shields tonight, and if Kurt's in, he's all the way in. Angle says he's in. Believe that. So, really cool moment. Elias is out there for take 2. But then Jordan's out there with even more produce to throw it at Elias. This time it looked like the cart was like completely full of produce. So somebody had to go to the store and buy all that produce.
Oh, well.
Enzo Amore makes his entrance, and even though they try to make him a heel, they still make him do the things that make the WWE Universe pop for him. And they're not really doing a good job. I mean, they're still cheering him for the most part, so it's weird. But Enzo has laryngitis. I'm sure Corey Graves was dancing in his shoes when Enzo didn't have a voice. But Enzo cuts his usual stuff on the microphone. Kalisto comes out for the Cruiserweight Championship. And what do you think of these guys here in the second Cruiserweight match of the evening, Matt?
Like I said, after the tag team match, I knew what we were getting here. No, and I got it. You know what? Trevor gave Emma props where it was due that she's had her best match since being in NXT at TLC tonight. I'll do you one better. Enzo had his best match ever tonight with Kalisto. NXT, main roster, you combine them both. I think Enzo, sick. Clearly he was sick. Sore throat or whatever. Clearly he didn't have, what Roman and company had because he was able to work. But it was very clear. I felt Enzo had his best match in the entire run of the company tonight.
Yeah, I think with when he was a babyface with Cass, it was just basically he gets the shit beat out of him until Cass gets the hot tag. So he didn't really get to develop a style in the ring. Now that he's a heel in the Cruiserweight division, he doesn't do the flips and the jumps and all that the Cruiserweights do, but as a heel he gets to develop a style. and he's able to perfect that style and turn in good matches like he had with Kalisto tonight. Trevor, what did you see out of this match?
Yeah, I mean, I was only partially paying attention, but what I paid attention to seemed like it was going pretty well. So I think Enzo's getting better. I don't know if that's gonna endear anyone in the locker room to him. But hey, obviously they're pushing him because it works. 205 Live's been up apparently since he's been around, so and his segments are getting good ratings for the most part. I mean, compared to their overall.
Crowds actually seem legitimately excited about 205 Live matches.
Yeah,
now.
Exactly. Yeah,
and they've never done that before.
Yeah, so I mean, it's working. So I understand why they would put him in that position in that division. So it makes sense. So it works.
I feel like the only reason they took the title off of him in the first place is because Creative booked themselves in a corner.
Yeah.
With the whole "you can't touch me" contract bullshit, so they had to take the title off him so they could get rid of that clause.
Yeah.
And then they just put the title. They just put the title right back on him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we all basically saw that coming too.
Yeah, So yeah, I think Enzo as Cruiserweight champ with the popular baby faces, clearly it's going to be Swan and Alexander chasing him after the Kalisto thing's done. I think that's a good thing. I think Swan and Alexander are money, and I think that when they get a chance to shine, they can let everybody see it.
Yeah, I honestly think that Alexander will be the next Cruiserweight champion.
I hope so. I think that would be a great choice.
I think it's going to take a few tries. I think Enzo's going to get out of some things, or he'll have some help with his newfound cronies. I think it may not happen until the Royal Rumble, but I think Cedric is going to be groomed for the next championship. Oh boy, here we go, man. When this was announced, we all had two words in mind: too sweet. AJ Styles, the Demon, Finn Balor, first time ever in a match. AJ thought maybe they wrestled some kind of inconsequential match 15 years ago, but this was their first.
If they did, I didn't get to say it.
Yeah, this was their first real meaningful match ever. Two former leaders of the Bullet Club, and again, props to WWE for thinking on the fly and thinking of things that would work to make this pay-per-view continue with all the sickness that was going around. Major props to AJ Styles, who was working in Argentina. Finished I think they had him wrestle first on Friday night and then hop on a plane right away. 18-hour flight, get to Minneapolis, and then prepare for. Then you gotta fly all the way up. 18-hour flight. Then you gotta prepare to put on a match that everybody expects is gonna blow the doors off the night. And so props to AJ Styles for taking to the challenge, but then also props to AJ and Finn for giving us what we expected, and that was just an amazing 18-minute match. And I think I said this to Trevor after it happened. I said, these guys gave us an amazing match, but also left room to give us more on the next match that comes across. Like they gave us like 4.5 stars where they could give us a 5-star next time. They left kind of room. There weren't multiple kickouts of finishers and stuff like that. So they gave us room to build upon the second time these guys clashed. Trevor, did you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a great match. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And then, I mean, it's way better than what the original match would have been. No offense to Bray, but like Jesus, like Creative is just that Sister Abigail stuff. Like, I honestly, I don't normally say this, because I like WWE to have some sort of consistency. But if they forgot about that whole storyline, I'd be okay with it.
This is their way to get out of that. Yeah. Matt,
some of the worst stuff I've ever seen.
Oh,
when I told Matt, because I typically during football season I'll watch Raw and DVR because I'll watch Monday Night Football, and so when if it was 2 weeks ago or I think it was 2 weeks ago or whenever they brought the Sister Abigail thing out.
Well, they did the Sister Abigail. They started the 3 weeks ago, which that video didn't look bad because you couldn't tell what it was.
But when he was actually, So when he was actually, the rumors were right, and he is Sister Abigail. And,
yeah, my God.
And, and I said, I told Matt, I sent a message to Matt, I go, everything they do with Bray, I think, has been great. But this was complete shit. And Matt's response to me was in all caps, thank you! Because somebody agreed
because you always figure out a way to defend what they're doing with Bray. Yeah. So I was very happy to hear you finally admit that this thing was the fucking drizzling shits.
It was drizzling runny shits, man.
I mean, it's bad, and I like to try to stay positive about things, like especially because there's so much out there that's negative. But like, man, it was just bad. Like, I felt bad for Bray.
Yeah.
With this, like,
I felt even worse for Balor for having to sell it like it was a serious threat.
Yeah, like he had to. Yeah, like he was all worried about this.
Yeah, it was like I hated watching Balor try to sell this as something as anything more than a fucking joke.
Balor had to be intimidated by a bearded lady in drag, or.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so like. This could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, this could be
dude! Out. If they just absolutely forget about this, it would be the best thing ever.
And who knows? I mean, it depends what their plans originally were for Survivor Series. So, they might at that point just end up having to. So,
I still think they should continue. I know they're building this as Raw.
They should just move. They should just move Bray back to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
where he was actually doing well.
My wish for Survivor Series is to pair Styles and Balor along with Gallows and Anderson and form the club and have a 4-on-4 Survivor Series style match.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that because they're obviously pushing the Raw versus SmackDown thing. They're pushing it. They pushed it heavily tonight.
Oh yeah,
and of course, AJ carries the torch for that blue brand. So
yeah, so I imagine it's going to be team versus team. Like, they might face each other as teams. So it could be like an AJ Styles led team versus a Finn Balor team there. But I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be on the same team. Maybe SmackDown will want a rematch. Who knows?
Yeah, my hope was dashed when they were pushing the Raw vs. SmackDown thing. And every time they talk about Raw vs. SmackDown, I get the horrible memories in my head of bragging rights pay-per-views that were absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but you know what? Not all of them were bad. Like,
I didn't like them.
Like, the one, I mean, granted, I was there live, so it might, that might have been, like, the fun goggles are put on.
Kind of like me liking WrestleMania 32 because I was there, but Matt completely disagreeing with me, right?
Yeah.
And I was there.
It could have been one. Like, I haven't gone back and watched it, but actually, it was back when I was still living in Maryland. I want to say THQ gave, like, us, like, 10 tickets, and we drove up to Pittsburgh for it. And it was fun, but maybe it was more the experience. I'd have to actually go back and watch it. So,
in the end, AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, but Finn shoved him in midair, and AJ took a hard hit on the floor. Finn said, "We ain't ending this on a ref count out," and grabbed AJ, only to be spine busted onto the announce table. That was a sick moment there. Then they do some. They collide in the middle of the ring, both going for the same crossbody, and then right away after that, they both tried to go for the clothesline. Pretty cool spot there. Balor hits the shotgun drop kick, goes up for the coup de grace, but AJ with a sweet Pele kick and springboard Hurricane Rana. Very cool spot there. AJ went for the springboard 450, but missed. Balor follows it up with a lariat, another shotgun drop kick, and this time hits the coup de grace with the win after an amazing 18-minute match. The Demon, Finn Balor. After the match, Balor helps AJ up to his feet, and they give us fans what we were wanting, a sweet too sweet in the middle of the ring. The crowd went nuts, and very cool to see that. Great moment.
Yeah, I'm sure the Young Bucks loved it.
Oh, I bet. Cease and desist. And speaking of which, there was a guy in the third row with a cease and desist shirt on.
That's funny.
I wonder if somebody made him turn it inside out. As I knew, I figured this was going to happen. Elias and Jason Jordan were going to get added to the card since it was only a 6-match card on the main card. So Produce turned into match, which was a fairly quick match. But and Elias's winning streak comes to an end. Jason Jordan gets the win. I bet Elias gets the win back on Raw tomorrow night. That's just my guess.
His shoulder was up.
Plus his shoulder was up.
They protected him in the loss.
Yeah.
And can I just say for the record, going back to the last match, I really hope Finn or AJ are actually hurt. Because motherfucker, that was the stiffest coup de grace I've ever seen in my life.
That was square.
God, like Balor looked like he fucked up his knee. Afterwards, AJ had to have been feeling that shit. But every time they replayed that move, I cringed.
It was square.
The impact on that was the roughest coup de grace I've ever seen done. Yeah. From Finn Balor, I was just like, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. Of course, Elias, Jason Jordan in the all too familiar cool down spot, because we needed a little cooler between that and the main event, the 5-on-3 TLC match. The Miz, The Bar, Kane, Braun Strowman taking on Rollins, Ambrose, and Kurt Angle. All the heels come out in their own little with their little entrances. Sierra, Hotel, Indigo, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield. The Shield classic music. Now, this was funny as hell. The Shield opening kicks off, okay, then the music hits. All 5 guys are looking up the ramp. How dumb are you guys? You know the Shield ain't coming down the ramp. Just
I don't know. It felt like a 2K video game.
Good point.
See, the game is lifelike, damn it.
Yeah. Ambrose Rollins at the top of the stairs. I kind of thought Angle maybe get his own entrance, even though he was going to, but no, he's there with the Shield, not going to get his own entrance. Well, he gets his own entrance later, but I digress. Angle, in his Shield gear, joins the tag champs and heads down through the WWE Universe to the ring. And I thought it was a great moment, man. Just seeing Kurt there, getting ready to fight, doing the Shield entrance. They all grab some chairs and stalk the ring like the Shield does, and Rollins springs off the ropes to kickstart the diversion, and Angle and Ambrose come in there and start attacking with some chairs. Again, just seeing Angle mix it up again, I thought was great, even though it wasn't a wrestling match. So we did get to see some of Angle's trademark wrestling moves. But it was cool to see Angle back out there. I thought, though, Matt, tell me if you agree with this or not. I thought once Strowman did his power slam finisher on Angle through a table, I just thought the match got kind of weird. It almost seemed like,
I think everything involving Kane and Braun Strowman was creatively wonky.
It was like, let's just throw this out.
It really didn't make it that anything involving the two of them brawling, to me, didn't make any sense at all. I mean, at the end, the takeaway, I guess it was they finally established Braun Strowman as a babyface. Like, I feel like they legit turned in babyface tonight. Like, I think Survivor Series, I know there's going to be Raw versus SmackDown matches, but I think there's going to be a Raw-only Survivor Series match with Miz, Kane, and The Bar against The Shield and Braun Strowman.
Ooh.
Like, I feel like we're getting that match at Survivor Series. So I feel that was what they set up tonight for that. So
before Angle got taken out, a cool moment was Ambrose and Rollins doing dual ladder dives onto Kane and Strowman through the announce tables,
and Rollins giving me a heart attack.
Yeah, grabbing his knee.
Oh, dude, I freaked out. And it's clear that he got me, or he might have tweaked it and he was fine. But look, and anytime Rollins is going to grab his knee after doing a spot, I'm going to worry about it. Yeah. Because that dude's had so many knee problems over the last several years. Like, you just come to worry about it instinctively when you see shit like that happen.
So that Angle's out. They walk him up the ramp, and it's 5-on-2, and basically the heels are just beating the hell out of Ambrose and Rollins. You just kind of wonder what something's going to happen. Angle coming back is the obvious thing, but is Lesnar surprisingly going to be there? Or just something weird, crazy. Roman Reigns in a hospital gown. Somebody joked. It's like, what is going to happen to save this 5-on-2 situation? Well, it turned out that it was Kane accidentally hitting Braun Strowman with a chair, and that it festered from there. I thought the Kane pulling down the string of chairs onto Strowman, I thought that was kind of a cool spot.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
But seriously, Kane beat up Braun Strowman, chokeslammed him through whatever that was, dropped all those chairs on him, then goes to beat up on the Shield again. It's like Kane turned heel or face then heel to add to his face and heel turn count. He did it twice in the same match. I was like, what the hell's going on here? And then all of a sudden Kane's on the same, even though Kane is beating up on Braun Strowman, which essentially screws the team. Well, now he's back on to the team as he's fighting with the Bar and Miz, and it was a little weird. The whole chunk from when Angle got taken out.
This was super weird.
The whole chunk from when Angle was taken out until he came back was just, it was odd. But they threw him a garbage truck, and the truck drove away. And instantly, I thought the truck drives away. I thought there was going to be a milk truck. The crowd would have went fucking nuts if Angle came back in a milk truck. But instead, Angle's music hits, and he is coming down the ramp, sweet belly to belly on Cesaro, gives Sheamus an angle slam, then gives Cesaro a sick angle slam through the table, and the look on Angle's face was just awesome. He was so pissed off, and that led the charge. Angle got hit with the skull-crushing finale, and Angle kicked out at the absolute last second. But then Angle gets Miz in the ankle lock, and then Miz is all alone. The Shield gets into the ring with Angle. Rollins hits his finisher. Ambrose hits the Dirty Deeds. Angle hits the Angle Slam. But that ain't enough. They do a triple Shield powerbomb onto the Miz. Angle gets the cover for the 1-2-3. This match went 36 minutes. I thought it was entertaining. In between, I thought it was some weird stuff there, but overall, I think just the fact that Angle was out there kicking some ass again, I was entertained the whole way through. Trevor, what were your thoughts on tonight's main event?
Yeah, I mean, it was a match full of pillaging and plunder and all that kind of shit, all the shit you expect in a TLC match, really. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's kind of exactly what I thought would happen when you have 8 guys out there just beating each other with, objects and chairs and whatnot. So, yeah, it was fun and entertaining, and that's kind of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, what were your thoughts on how Angle produced in his return to the WWE ring in the first time in over 11 years?
Yeah, dude, I thought with 2 days' notice, I thought he did great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the match in a bubble for what it was. Like, I made a comment at one point. A friend I was watching the show with, I said this match is a clusterfuck, and I'm loving every minute of it. And because I was, there was some really weird, creatively wonky stuff, like I said, with Kane and Strowman that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But at the end of the day, the match was really fun. It was nuts. It was crazy. It, for the most part, told a solid story that made sense. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm overall just really happy with this pay-per-view, which if you would have asked me 72 hours ago, if I was going to be this happy about this show, probably not. So
yeah, it was weird. It was like we were doing the preview show last a couple days ago, and I was like, and it just kind of hit me when I looked at the card before we went to our predictions. I'm like, oh, this is a 2-match pay-per-view, isn't it? Well, yeah, I mean, like we said a couple times before, the undercard delivered tonight, and the 2 main matches that we were expecting to get excited about with debuting Asuka and Emma looked great. Main event was a lot of fun, and then we got a bonus match between Balor and AJ. So overall, some good stuff. Normally, in this part of the show, we would say, where do we go from here? But Survivor Series is where we go from here. So it's going to be a lot
exactly.
It's going to be a lot of Raw versus SmackDown. So not really progressions with the titles that we can really talk about and discuss. But yeah, I thought it was a very enjoyable evening, and we took, as we always do after the show, took to Twitter for our poll on rating TLC, and thanks to everybody that voted in our poll. And the grade I gave it, basically, that made sense to me, it was the leader, B, at 41%. I gave it a solid B. I would say probably even a B+. I mean, there was... there wasn't really many duds in there, and a lot of things overachieved. So I think a B+ is definitely where I would put it at. A and C both tied at 23%, and then 13% gave it a D or F. I don't know what they didn't like about it, but Trevor, what were your overall thoughts on TLC tonight?
It was a good show. I mean, there's nothing really that I'm going to complain about. I mean, I could sit there and nitpick stuff, but I mean, it was a fun show. I thought, there were some really good matches, like, Finn and AJ was really good. Both women's matches on the main card were really good. I mean, even the women's pre-show match was solid. So, I mean, I don't think there was anything that was bad. So, good stuff.
Well, that's going to do. Yeah, for sure. That's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard. Trevor, once again, thanks for coming on. Hope we get you back on sometime soon. And thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. What you got to do, if you haven't done so already, search for Lost in the Midcard. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends. Tell everybody to get on the Lost in the Midcard train. So that way every time a new episode comes your way every Thursday, most Mondays after WWE pay-per-view. You also can subscribe to us on the YouTube, and the links to all that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard, and also on our Twitter at LITMC Podcast. Matt's on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. Trevor is on the Twitter at TrevorOSZ, Trevor Oz. I am on the Twitter at JBHuskers, and as we go full steam ahead now to Survivor Series, Matt, what are your final thoughts?
All I can do is hope that Raw builds on the momentum that they gather from TLC tonight. I mean, that's really all we can ask for at this point. They laid out a pretty good foundation of fun tonight. Let's hope they can continue it on Raw and going forward.
One quick question for both of you before we go. Trevor, excited for champion versus champion with Jinder and
Brock?
Brock?
My God.
No.
No, nobody is.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm not really excited for Brock versus anybody.
Yeah, neither am I. That honestly, that's a fantastic point.
Which I mean, I hate to say that because,
dude, I was so excited when the dude came back in 2012.
Yeah, and I was, I was looking forward to him and Braun, but that didn't really pan out well. So I kind of think we're back to the Lesnar that doesn't care again. So
yeah,
he'll just go through the motions of suplexes, and that's what we're gonna get. So
yeah, the Braun match was our last hope for him not having the title at WrestleMania, and he still has the title. So alas. For Trevor and Matt, this is Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in to Lost, the Midcard. Have yourselves a good week, and we'll be back at you on Thursday.